He knocked me over. I landed on the dog bowl.
This one's wife. Disintegration point. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. Speculation continues to mount with regard to the status of the relationship between this one's wife and Prince Harry. They have not been seen jointly in public for over a month, which by their standards is unusual. Harry has been doing much more on his own, but he fell silent recently, prompting people to speculate as to his whereabouts. He resurfaced, appearing on the big screen like a Bond villain for a NATO meeting, which also led to speculation that he wasn't actually being filmed at home. This one's wife has only made a couple of solo appearances herself, which is comparatively quiet by her usual standards of appearing in public. It has been dressed up as a professional separation, she focusing on the celebrity status that she craves so much, driven by her narcissism, and Harry focusing on his charitable efforts. However, there are those that query that the professional separation is just an explanation that's being given for an actual marital separation that has taken place. It would come as no surprise to learn that separation has occurred as a consequence of the fact that so much has gone wrong for them as of late, and that this one's wife either is pushing Harry away because he no longer serves a useful purpose, or Harry started to wake up to her behaviour and is sick and tired of it, thus he's distancing himself from her. Accordingly, one may well see that they are at a disintegration point. But interestingly, whilst there is that speculation about their relationship, there's also another disintegration point that has reared its head. According to Jasmine Carey and Grace Piercy, writing in the Express, Prince Harry and King Charles's relationship could be at a disintegration point after the Duke and Duchess of Sussex have been accused of making petty moves. Newsweek's royal correspondent, Jack Royston, believes the fractured relationship may no longer have much hope, as King Charles has not seen the prince on his recent UK visits. Royston said, "That is probably, I think, the biggest warning sign that their relationship could actually be at full disintegration point now." It is believed that although the king has been busy on each of the Duke's visits to Britain, the petty moves made by Harry and this one's wife may not have helped his decision-making. Remember, the behaviour of Harry and this one's wife have threatened the need for control that King Charles has. The smearing of Camilla, who is an extension of Charles, will not have gone down well with him. And the various bleating and complaints and the contents of Spare, along with their ongoing victim behaviour and repeated lambasting of the royal family, are naturally things that would cause concern for King Charles, resulting in him seeking to assert control over Harry and doing so by withdrawal by not providing him with time. To some extent, this is comparatively easy for the king to justify, because it's not just the case that Harry can pop round for a chocolate digestive and a cup of tea in the way that many people would go and see their parents. The king has a diary that's organised, and as a consequence of that, it isn't the case that he can suddenly just make himself available, as on most days he will have events and activities that he has to attend, meaning that either he won't be in the place where Harry is, or if he is, he's already occupied with something else. Bronte Coy, a journalist for news.com.au, who featured on The Sun's royal exclusive programme, said that the couple have frequently made announcements at the same time as the royal family, which some believe may be a way to take the limelight. It absolutely is the case for this one's wife. As I pointed out on many occasions previously, she seeks to steal the thunder. Because she cannot stand for the limelight to be on somebody else, she needs it. Coy said, "The optics are so bad. where there's been a couple of announcements that have coincided with things like Kate's finishing up her chemotherapy video. I think there was an announcement that day from the Sussexes. Even if it is not deliberate from them, it is. This one's wife does it because her narcissism compels her to do so. She states that even if it's not deliberate, they've been released at the same time. The optics are that it's quite petty to behave that way. Thus the suggestion is that the already strained relationship between King Charles and Prince Harry, and by extension this one's wife, is at disintegration point. This is problematic, of course, for the gruesome twosome. They are still angling to have a relationship because, first of all, the only reason that the two of them have any relevance in the world is a consequence of the royal connection. Harry, born a prince, trades on that. It's all he's ever known. He has no other talents beyond that, and people will only give him the time of day, and of course that's decreasing as a consequence of the fact that he is a prince. Take that away from him and what are you left with? A dimwit who hasn't really achieved much in life. He's not special in that regard. Of course, that could be said for many members of the royal family. They're not gods striding the earth. Nevertheless, what many of the other royals do is make themselves useful in terms of service, whereas with Harry, he has retreated from that as a consequence of the encouragement of his wife, resulting in him doing less of the type of work that he's actually quite good at, although just recently he started to move back towards that, which might signify that he's had enough of the behaviour of this one's wife. But hitherto, he had backed away from a lot of that work compared to what he used to do, and that exposes him because he isn't somebody that's good at content creation. He isn't an entrepreneur. Look at where Better Up got to. It didn't. This one's wife, remove the fact that people only give her the time of day because she married Harry, and what do you got? You've got a mediocre actress who spouts word salad and fridge magnet platitudes. That's it. Again, nobody would give her a platform were it not for the fact that she was married to Harry. Nobody would listen to her were it not for the fact that she's married to Harry. Nobody would have any due regard for what comes out of her mouth were it not for the fact that she is a member of the royal family, albeit a non-working one. Accordingly, it's important for these two to maintain the royal connection, because despite their attempts to trade on something else, all of which have failed, it's the only thing that they've got which gives them some degree of relevance. Nobody's interested in them for their business acumen. Nobody's interested in them for their charismatic observations about the world. Nobody's interested in them as entertainers. Nobody's interested in them as witty raconteurs. The only reason that people would tolerate them was because they were linked to the royal family. And at first, it was because they wanted to hear all about their stories of being in the royal family. And then when it became apparent that a lot of that was made up nonsense and pure victimhood, it's got old rather quickly. And therefore, the only thing that they can cling on to maintain that relevance is being members of the royal family, which means that they have to try and keep King Charles on side. But unfortunately, that doesn't appear to be working. And therefore, this disintegration point has been reached, which, of course, may well have a knock-on effect with regard to their own union being at a disintegration point, because if Harry's usefulness as a member of the royal diminishes or indeed evaporates, this leaves this one's wife with nothing, meaning why bother to keep Harry around, and may well then force her to look elsewhere. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.